I knew this would be dangerous.
Episode 99 with the 3 J's.
Oh, shit. I didn't even realize that until you just said that now.
Okay.
The triple J.
The triple J's.
Thank God all our names don't start with K.
Are we live? I don't even know what I was participating in, but I just went along with it.
That's when you feel that the price is right, isn't it?
Yes. Okay, they're the key. They're the keys I was looking for.
Isn't that what it is?
I mean, you do that better than I do.
Oh man.
Sometimes.
Hey Jerry, can you do me a solid? Give me another one of these. That'd be great.
Well, thank you, boys. Thank you for coming down and hanging out with me.
Are we live?
Yeah, we're live, man. Yep.
Holy smokes!
Yep.
Happened quickly.
Yeah. It's we're efficient now. We're efficient now.
We're live.
I also
here.
dialed back on sponsors just because I've got so much shit going on in my personal life with my dad in the hospital and everything. I don't have time to do ad reads.
Okay.
Sorry to hear that.
So
sorry to hear that.
But we're getting back on it next week. So
okay.
All right.
next week.
A bunch
Episode
of
99, boys. Shout out to Gretzky, the great one.
Shout out to Gretzky, the great one. My favorite hockey player, by the way. My favorite.
I think he's most people. That's like saying Jordan's my favorite basketball player. I don't know about how you losers, but Jordan's my favorite. Like, no shit.
Like,
look at Jeremy.
Like me saying Kirby
there.
Puckett is my favorite baseball player.
Okay, hang on. Kirby Puckett.
Am I aging myself?
Kirby Puckett's my favorite baseball player of all time.
Is it really?
Yeah, minus the beating the shit out of his wife.
Oh,
yeah.
That's new to me. So
I'm just gonna hold on to what I know about Kirby and leave it there.
It's literally like 90s Minnesota professional athletes that beat their wives. Kirby Puckett, Chris Carter, Warren Moon.
You know what's funny about
literally, we can name a lot.
The funny thing is, we're talking.
Those are the ones that got out pre-internet.
We're talking. We're doing this podcast.
We're here
in 2021. And
beating your wife is still not cool.
I think most of us grew up in like the 80s.
Oh man,
where we grew up in a time
your wife
as
was
kids.
Cool.
No, it wasn't cool. But
beating your wife became uncool in the 90s.
Oh, yeah, it was something we fucking grew up with.
Stayed uncool ever since.
You know, it's like
because
you see it happens in your family or it happens in everyone else's family. It's like, yeah, well, this happened.
Yeah. No, for real though. All jokes aside,
right.
It wasn't cool to beat your wife in the 80s, but it was cool to beat your wife at a time. When did that change for real? Because definitely in the 50s, it was still okay.
Historically,
it was still okay. It was still okay in the 50s.
God, people are going to hate this part.
Even into the 60s, it was still kind of like societally looked at as okay.
Right
Probably
into
in the
deep
70s or 80s, right? Probably into the 70s and 80s is when it was no longer cool to beat your wife.
I just don't know.
Well, I mean, if we look at culture, I mean, even when it comes to Hollywood.
Because in Europe, they still beat the shit out of their women over there. I'm just kidding. I don't know that.
I don't know. Don't say that.
Man, I heard about them French.
We don't condone.
French, they like to hit
We don't
them
condone
women.
any of this.
Brady says, "Hey, dudes."
But it came up.
What's up, boys?
Because I mentioned Kirby Puckett. So
we kicked this thing off right away. We didn't do any introductions. We just said, "Nope, this is what we're talking."
We were kind of already.
talking
before. I think we're just talking about
we
like
do
what
the
it
big
means.
introduction the first time you guys come on.
Is that
it's
what
a
we
lot
do?
more laid back the second time? Yeah.
Oh, right on.
I had no idea.
I mean, who cares?
Right?
Nobody watches this fucking thing.
Everybody's seen this conversation before.
No, but I do appreciate you boys coming down. Thank you guys very much. Justin Crandall, in case anybody doesn't know. Jerry Achu.
We appreciate you having us.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, I know I can be elusive sometimes, and I don't really like showing my face. People just catch me when they can. They see me.
Makes you sound like a criminal when you put it that way.
Yes.
Like literally catch me if you can.
I was just listening to the new Seven Dust album.
One of my favorite crime movies of all time.
And they have a song called Criminal. Anyway, that was just a stupid point. Go ahead.
Stupid.
Michael Jackson, Smooth Criminal.
Oh, man. I thought about that too. And in my own brain, I was thinking, should I mention the Seven Dust or Michael Jackson? But we got both of them in, so it's cool.
That's called an alley-oop.
Oh, jeez.
Because we dunked it. Get it?
Oh,
slam.
Oh, my God. Holy smokes!
Jeremy backs me up. Okay, yeah, beating your wife. It was pretty popular in the 50s.
In the 50s.
Yeah,
Thank
right?
you.
You know,
Thank you, Jerry.
at the height of the Beatles, in their pop age, the bubblegum pop of the Beatles is when it was still okay to beat the shit out of your wife.
Oh my gosh,
man.
That's not a
man.
Social justice warriors, don't protest against this podcast, okay? We don't condone it.
They
We're just
can't. Dude, I regularly Me Too myself. You can't Me Too me after I Me Too me.
okay.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
You're pragmatic.
It's like confession at a Catholic church. It's like once I confess this, you can't narc me out to the
that means
priest
you're
for it.
aware of what you've done.
Yeah.
I know I've done wrong.
And we're not justifying beating your wife.
It's not okay.
To us, it's never been cool, but that's because we were born in the 80s. That's what I'm getting at.
It was just so prevalent to see that.
It was a regular
growing up
thing.
as a kid, yeah.
Yep. Just like housewives on Quaaludes back then.
I wish it wouldn't have happened. Here we
the-
are. I can't change
Well,
that.
I think it was a better time, and I'd like to go back.
The order of the universe has suggested that certain things need to happen in order for awareness to come into
That
place.
was my favorite thing about that whole Trumplandian fucking Make America Great Again. I was like, when was it
Trumplandian.
great? Like, okay, yes, it's still the best country on the planet. It really still is. But it's always been super fucked up, and it's better than it ever has been. We were kind of talking about that when you first walked up. Like when was it great? When we were murdering natives or enslaving two entire races of people?
The entire planet.
Before women had the right to vote, and guys are like, yep, that's the one. That's the one.
Oh my God.
Yeah, 1918, that's when it all went downhill.
I think,
but all I'm just saying is like things are way better now than they ever have been. So
think
I don't
most
know.
people
I don't
don't
understand
have-
what you mean by you want to make it great again. Like it was somehow better back then than it is now. Like it sucked back then for way more people.
For a lot of people, I think it just had a pitfall. So,
I think
that's arguable. So
there was just less percentages of poor people. I think that's the thing is poor people were fewer and farther between in America.
I mean,
in middle
there's,
America.
There's probably a lot of angles a lot of people can
after
bring
World
up.
War II. I'm talking about.
Here's the or was our perception on what cost was and what materialistic things made you as a person. It was a perception of what that was then versus it is now. You know, I guess that's the place that I come from.
I mean, it definitely was a simpler time. They had less drugs
think,
to worry about. You know, like your kid could basically become a heroin addict or an opium addict, and that's about it. You know, because we all know smoking pot isn't the end of the world anymore, right? You see what I'm saying? Now it's like, fuck, dude, there's 1,000 drugs your kid could get in middle school and become a complete junkie by the time he hits 9th grade.
I truly think
incredible in the worst way, man.
It literally was a simpler time back then.
The world just got more complicated, and as more complexities were introduced to the social being, it just got harder to identify like what is wrong and what is right because we have so many options. That's for me. I think that's the place that I come from is just so many more options now, and it's our responsibility to sift through all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Well,
and I think that's a heavy weight to carry.
Well, when it comes to when you say right and wrong, like what comes to mind for me is there like a moral compass that's outside of the Mittelwelt, which is like the German term from society's viewpoint, the consensus reality, or
for sure,
is there a difference between like what's right and wrong individually, morally, as opposed to what society decides and consensus has agreed upon or has accepted?
So isn't that kind of what people nowadays talk about isn't that what they call like the social contract? Like,
well, yeah, you can call
these are the things we used to be cool with,
different
but we're
terms,
not cool with anymore.
Meaning.
The social contract.
Like, think about it. We joke about
consensus
this a lot,
reality,
and we joke about this a lot too. Like, you go back and watch old TV shows, and you're like, "Oh, that would never be okay nowadays."
Yes.
But that was the mainstream back then.
That was it. Yeah.
I mean, pick a TV show, and I can give you an example from it where it's like that wouldn't fly nowadays. People joke about that. Rogan talks about it all the time. Movies like Tropic Thunder probably wouldn't be able to be made today, and that was only 20 years ago. Think about what was going on 50 years ago in the 70s.
Before our time, right?
Because it's hard to understand. When we grew up, the 50s was only 30 years ago, and then it was 40 years ago, but then for a long time, it was still only 50 years ago.
Yeah,
Now,
so our
when we think
fathers
about 50
probably lived
years
that
ago,
time,
bro,
yeah.
that was the 70s, yo. 1971. Think about that. Like, our perception of time and shit. We're the guys that are starting to get up there now. So 50 years ago isn't, oh, well, that was back in the 50s. It's like, no, that was the 70s, dude.
That was you breathed the air.
Yeah.
Well, your parents breathed the air of the 50s.
In that 20 years where we've grown up, and 50 years ago changed from the 50s to the 70s.
Right.
That same, what you're kind of describing, I think that's what people refer to nowadays as the social contract.
It makes sense. The terminology
That's the
makes
social
sense,
contract. Yeah. This is the shit we kind of just all naturally agree upon, and it's almost through like social shaming. You know, like being a homophobe was okay for a long time. Being racist was okay for a long time, even though it was illegal to do anything about it. Yeah. You could still have those thoughts, and that was fine.
I'm sure people still do today.
And it was through social shaming, though, that it became where people are like, "Oh, dude, fuck you. If you're racist, I don't even want to fuck with you. Get the fuck out of here." And that was in our generation when we were born. And we were taught that. That's the only way you get rid of these things, because it's perfectly legal for X, Y, and Z. So if you want to get rid of it and like eradicate it, you got to start socially bullying and pressuring those things out. So like you get rid of homophobia by telling everybody it's not cool for years until everybody just accepts it.
So the method of getting rid of something that's deemed as negative is we're not questioning the methodology.
So first you pass laws to make sure people can't legally act on it, so you can't discriminate like for laws or enslave or things like that. And then the next thing is it's a generational move of convincing the next generation socially that making fun of those things aren't cool either. Well, it's just a theory. I'm not saying it's 100% correct, but I think that's what you're referring to now, is where in different generations you start acknowledging what the social norms are and aren't.
I think as I've grown older, as
they'll both work.
As I've
grown over,
I've started to become more aware in how it is that I want to act and how I want to be remembered.
Is that this part of that has having been a father influenced a lot of that?
I think
because now you're raising children. I mean, look, kids are going they're going to look at their parents,
right?
The dynamics of their parents to each other, the next appearance of strangers, how they act around them, and now that's a lot better.
We're moving mics. It's cool.
And I'm sitting there bitching about how like
being a dad.
Yeah, I mean I'm assuming that's influenced part of, because I don't know if you were just this way before even kids or.
No, I think it was a progression in personal growth. You know, I think it was me realizing like some of the things that I did that would cause harm to others, and then it was recognizing some of the things that I did that projected good. And then when I saw other people feeling good, I was like, I want to.
That's kind of your cue.
I just want to,
like, okay,
yeah. I just want to kind of lean there as much as I can. And I think your question to becoming a dad, I think that only enhanced it. Right. I think that took personal growth and said, hey, now you have to raise young men, and you know you have to take a look back and a reflection of your whole life as a child to a teen to an adult. Like, what don't I want my children to do, because I knew that it was negatively going to impact them. I'm trying to instill values into my two sons the best that I possibly can. The best that I possibly can.
I don't think there's this might be a bad analogy, but the 100% success rate is impossible.
It's not about 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's impossible. Even if you try, I mean, you can strive for doing the best you can. Yeah. You're only going to get. So
you're saying it's like a Madden rating? Like, no one is rated 100? No one's rated 100. Like it's not an option in the game. The best is 99 because or like finding
because of the symbolism of what 100 represents.
Or saying
right?
like you're dating a 10. Like you can't date a 10 because 10s don't exist.
They
Nobody's
don't actually
perfect.
exist. No, a lot of people need to understand this.
I think
it's especially if we're going by like attractiveness and like beauty and all that. It's always going to be subjective because there's no way my universe.
And same thing on character and
absolutely. That. There's no way my universe in my mind is going to be the same as yours. Is going to be the same as Jared's. Is going to be the same as the other almost 8 billion people on the planet.
No, there's only 8 million, dude.
there's just a lot of people. There's just a lot of people, and thank God for that.
It's 8 billion. Yeah, you're right.
But I
think it's actually 7 and change. But
7 and change.
I truly believe this and think it. Perfection is overrated. I think it's something that, for me anyways, in my experience, once I remove perfection from my vocabulary, now it's just about trying to be a little bit better every day.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, like incrementally.
Just incrementally find little goals.
Yeah, and I don't even necessarily try to be better anymore because it's like for me, even being better is like
good for you.
For me, being better is concentrating on the result, right? Like, am I better?
Okay.
Where now I've started to shift my mentality to more of enjoying the process. The process is the point.
The process
right? So it's like, for example, here's a really lame duck blue collar example. Okay. I got to build a fence. That means you got to dig a bunch of holes. You might have to mix some concrete depending on how you're doing it, right? There's these steps to the process. You can either concentrate on your only sense of achievement being when and if that fence is done to your standards, or you can enjoy the process of getting it done and take pride in your work along the way and the fact that you're learning and achieving something new, by default bettering yourself, right? So it's the actual process. So again, it's like I don't need to concentrate. Here's another blue collar analogy. I don't need to concentrate on benching 250. What the journey is getting to 250.
What
right?
You don't
enjoying the rep along the way, enjoying the healing process, enjoying that journey, because whether or not you actually make it to 250 is irrelevant.
It's irrelevant.
Because if you are miserable along the way, you
no
achieve
way.
that goal and then you bail and you're like, all right, I'm not doing that again.
And in a strange way, you didn't really achieve it.
You see what I'm saying? Exactly.
It's a very strange thing to understand because, like you said, it's that journey of
so
going
not
to
only
that,
get rid of perfection, just to bring it back to what you said, not only get back to perfection, but I've even stopped looking at it like, am I a better guitar player than I was yesterday? Well, if I'm only focusing on that, how are you even going to measure and look at that? So it's like, did I work on playing guitar today? And did I enjoy working on playing guitar today? And did I do something that should make me a better guitar player today? The answer is no, because I got ready for this podcast. Yesterday? No. Also no. You know why though? Because I did exactly that on drums. Yesterday, I did some shit to make sure that I put myself in a position to be a better drummer. Whether I am or not is up to continuing that journey along the way. I feel like that's a really fucking $10 million paragraph to try to say a $10 point.
So let me help you with kind of the deeper detail behind what I say. It's not necessarily am I better today, but am I a better human being? Like, am I waking up today with purpose, with the intent to do good?
I mean, Hitler said that to himself every day when he woke up. So that's careful, you know. And I'm saying, like, that's even fucking, because even the bad guys, even the bad guys think that though.
But,
like, even the bad guys think they're doing good in the world when they do that shit. I'm saying that as a Jew.
I want people that are listening to this to understand this dimension.
I mean, we understand it, dude.
I know
you
guys
said it before the podcast. Hitler had some great ideas. I disagree.
Whoa.
I disagree with you, Jerry.
I did not. This is what Jared does, if you guys don't know. But yeah, I mean, look.
They're correct. I'm just joking.
Well,
in case anybody new is confused, any new viewers are confused, I am in fact joking.
If you give yourself affirmations, like, this is, I believe, when it comes down to that, if you're doing good, that comes back to our conversation on the moral compass of what is good or bad, or what's good or bad based on consensus, reality, or social, consensus.
But again, that shit scares me because whether you look at the Crusades, right?
There you go.
Where you have one religion beheading women for infidelity and castrating women, and then you have another side fucking invading lands that aren't theirs to put their own religious beliefs impending upon people. Like, all of those people thought they were the good guys.
Both sides.
But
everybody thought they were righteous and doing good and
So,
righteous good.
Yes.
And righteous good, the moral higher, their own moral compass pointed them in the correct
look at the
direction.
headbutting that's going on today.
Thank you for bringing
How much
that
you
up.
want to
Same
bet?
thing with the Republicans and the
and
Democrats.
How much you want to bet? Both
There you
sides
go,
think
right?
they're the right.
They all think they're the good guy,
But hang on
making
a second.
everything better, and the other guy's evil,
And the
making
other-
it worse.
I want to say something.
Anyway, let's have you talk right now.
really quick. You went to, Hitler said the same thing. You know what I'm thinking? I just want to be a better person for me based off of my moral compass, which is never to do anything to anybody.
Now
that's a little different.
That's
Yes.
different, right?
and I'm
'Cause
gonna
it's
build
based on
on
no
that
harm,
once
right?
it's done.
Based on no harm.
But most people feel they need to take action.
No, this isn't based off of action. This is based off of but I'm going to do the best that I can, but do whatever I can in my power to not cause any harm on anybody. Right? And that places my accountability.
So would you
on
go to
me.
war? Like, let's say it is 1942.
Yeah.
We get bombed Pearl Harbor.
Right.
Okay. Like, pretend you're watching Captain America if you have to. Okay. Captain America didn't want to kill people, but if that's what had to be done, he was willing to sacrifice his life. So in this act, you're not directly going, I want to murder everybody, but you're putting yourself in the military to be in a position where you're going to go absolutely 100% murder people. So again, but are you doing the greater good?
You're asking
and I'm
me-
not arguing with you. I just like these thought experiments because it's like, yeah, that's why I didn't join the military. It's like, no, I'm not going to do that unless you actively attack me.
Here's my response to you.
Yes. Okay.
Here's my response to you.
If the nowadays, like, Red Dawn, they changed it to like the Chinese government or whatever. Okay, yeah, but guess what? I'm not running to the West Coast to fight the Chinese. If they come to Minnesota
and they literally want to harm
I'm gonna
us,
fuck them up. But they got to get all the way to here before I'm joining that war. That's kind of how I
but hang on a
manifested
second.
that.
Okay.
How do
That's
you
how you
do
manifest that.
That's how I manifest that train of logic, because I don't want
No,
to
I
feel like I'm
don't.
putting you in a box.
You are
I don't
putting
want
me
to
in a
feel like
box.
I don't want to make you feel
Right.
like I'm getting you into a gotcha moment, because I'm
No.
not. I don't want to make you feel like I'm trapping you, because I'm not arguing.
But here's my
with you.
response to that. Right? Because you said
Would you go to war?
What I wouldn't. I don't know, but what I know for right now in my life, where I am as a person, the decisions that I have to make are not of that caliber. They're not. What I do know right now is the moment that I'm living in is my version of good. I'm not having to make tough decisions. Therefore, I'm living right now. And based off of where I am right now, the version of good and do no harm to others does not have those type of very consequences. I can't answer your question genuinely and say, would I go to war or would I try to... I'm not in that position. I'm not feeling those emotions. I'm not near the caliber or the mindset of what it is to be in that. And that's why other people are in those positions, right?
Mm-hmm.
What I do know is where I'm at right now, the capability, the understanding of the life that I'm living, the decisions that I make now they don't fit in that place. So I can't tell you an honest answer because
That's fair.
I'm not in that position.
That's fair.
What I can tell you is when I go to work, the decisions that I make are to do no harm. When I am a parent, the decisions that I make are to do no harm, the best that I possibly can, right? Because I'm human and I'm gonna make mistakes.
So I got a question
So
for
just
you,
like
Justin.
get through today without stabbing somebody.
No, get through today.
I mean, well,
like if I gotta stab somebody,
well, you're
I'm just fucking-
going
I'm
to
just
this.
fucking
I know.
around.
I know what you're doing.
You're going to the extreme, but that brings up the point I want to ask you.
I'm just in a snarky mood
Because-
today.
and
I'm
that's
just
cool,
in
that's
a
cool.
not bitchy, snarky,
And
just
that's-
kind of like
that's-
sassy.
and listen,
That's good
Just a little
entertainment. That's good
sassy.
TV. What I was going to say based on everything you said, you're not in the position to make those decisions, because that's not the caliber of where your life is right now.
I'm just not. And I'm glad. By the way, I'm glad I'm not.
Yeah. Because when you're forced to make those decisions, then you have to really do that critical thinking in life, making decisions. What I want to ask is, when you say do no harm, especially in the kind of society, the environment, the culture that we live in today,
sure,
what exactly is harm to another person? Because what if what you consider harm,
there you go,
and what if something you do that you don't consider harm, someone else considers
like
harmful?
This question reminds me of that scene from The Good Place. Yeah. When he goes like, in 1918, this person bought a bouquet of flowers.
I feel like I'm in the hot seat right now.
No, that's okay. No. This is more for the people that are going to listen to this more than you. You know, I'm like, well, go ahead, dude.
What's up, Sanders?
This question reminds me of that episode of The Good Place where they like have a point and a value system for doing good versus doing harm, right? And he like looks up somebody who in 1918 bought a bouquet of flowers and got like plus 500 points for thoughtfulness and generosity. But in 2020, when you did the same thing, they weren't grown organically, and they murdered 10,000 bees in order to, and they like,
so pretty much the point.
You actually did more harm
touching
by
the point
doing
that I'm
something
asking.
Yeah, exactly.
It's touching the point that I'm
That's
talking.
what reminded me of. As soon as you asked this question, it reminded me of this scene in this TV show.
You ready for my answer?
Yeah, go ahead.
I think anything we do in this world, whether it is you are a Christian, I don't know, a politician, whether you are a home builder, whether you're a graphic designer, at some point in time along your journey, you're going to cause harm. Here's my example. As a graphic designer,
what's the intent?
Right, my intent is pure and good. That's where it's
very sensitive.
I'm trying the best in any moment that I am to ask more questions versus tell. Because the more questions you ask, the more people expose what could be harmful or hurt them and get them in a place of defense or sadness. So if you can just...
God, this just sounds like such a privileged option. Like, I've never been in situations where we've had that liberty. Like, we gotta make snap decisions right fucking now, and your ego and how you feel about it is irrelevant, because we have a much greater goal to achieve right this fucking moment. We don't have the ability to press pause here. Like, no, this shit's going down now. Like, how are we going to handle this and react? Whether it's sports,
not all the time.
Whether it's a real life fight or some shit about to go down. Whether it's on the job and like we're up against a deadline and like fucking it's shit.
I think the scenarios that you two are pulling from are
my everyday.
Yeah,
my everyday is like, I usually don't have that kind of time and privilege to sit there and do that, and I don't expect to be treated that way either. I think that's why I come across as like very calloused. And blunt,
yes,
because it's like, listen, motherfucker, we just got to get this shit done. We'll have a beer later and talk about how you feel, but right now I need you to man up and get your fucking job done.
And I'm the devil's advocate here, because
that's how people have always talked to me. That's how I treat other people.
I've experienced
we'll talk about it later.
I've experienced Jared's that life and that point of view, and yours.
Yeah.
So, there's no way I'm gonna meld these two universes together and make them one. Okay, it's not possible. However, I can jump back and forth between the two, and this is the only option I have, or anyone, if they choose to, is it's going to be unique to the damn scenario and the life at the time. I'm not the same person I was 10 years ago.
No.
None of us are. I'm probably not going to be the same person I am in 10 years.
Right.
So depending on how your life gravitates, you're going to make small adjustments. It just so happens that Jared's, where he's coming from, that's how it's been. It's not wrong. Just so happens just where you've come from is how it's been. It's not wrong. Okay? And if any side were wrong, then there would be like a mass consensus on the planet of one right being wrong, and you would just be this weird outlier.
It reminds me of playing football, because it's like during the game I'm being screamed at, and my coach is like, listen, get your fucking job done. get out there. And then later he'll pull me aside and we'll have that talk, like, and I'll be like, listen, man, here's the deal. Like, you can yell at me to do my job and all that kind of shit, but I don't need you to put me down and make an example out of me in front of everyone, because I'm already doing what you're already doing times 10 in my own head.
Yep.
Like, is what I need you to do is come and maybe literally smack me in the back of the head, look me in the eyes and go, hey, you got this.
But this,
and then I'm like, you're right. Get out. And then see what I'm saying?
Positive reinforcement, which is something I think you understand very well.
Right. Now, that's the point, is we don't have time for that during the game, but that conversation still happens. It's just way later. That's the world I grew up in. It's not like cows, we don't care how you feel. It's we don't have time to worry about how you feel right now. We'll deal with that shit later. That's the point. So it's not always like we don't have time to ask questions.
And maybe that's not even what you were saying.
That's
like, we need to deal with it right now. So maybe that was the
that's not what I'm saying at all.
Yeah.
I just wish I had that mindset, is what I'm saying, because I'm not saying you're able to do this in every. I'm like, wow, that's fucking, like, I don't want to say I'm jealous, but like, holy shit, because I grew up in environments of just high stress,
dude, so did
quick time, where it's like, no, I never got that. But that's I never got that.
I think that's what originated our conversation that we were having today, right? Like, how do you find yourself to these different places? And it's okay. Like I'm not saying the way that I'm living my life is the best life. Else.
Right, it's just the tip you're on right now, and it seems like you're doing much better. So fucking
the
keep
point,
going, bro.
The point
I'm
that
not trying to derail you or devalue what you're saying, because last time we talked, you had just quit a band. You weren't super fucking chill. Like, you know, you've always had a good head on your shoulder, but you do seem like you're in a much stronger and better place now. So I'm not arguing with you or trying to tell you you're thinking wrong. I'm just saying, wow, because like, holy fuck, hearing that, I'm like, that the level of calmness and patience and thought, I'm like,
oh yeah, he's a very calm, collected dude in our band.
Yeah, I'm like, I ain't got time for that shit. Let's just get the fucking job done. We'll talk about it later. Just get it done. We'll talk about it later.
I think okay, I don't want to say
I've also been operating my entire life like I'm 3 years behind schedule. So
for me,
I'm always playing catch up.
Once again, I'm saying for me.
I know, and I'm comparing myself to you, and I'm saying I'm not jealous, but it's like, wow, I wish I had that earlier in my life, so I could have even put that into the mix, because now I feel like I'm so far in, I just have to kind of just accept not getting everything done and making everybody happy.
I mean, here's the thing, and I'll be real about this. We kind of hinted at this the last time I was on.
I think so too, yeah.
When you get sick, right, and it takes you down. You lose a part of you. And when you lose a part of you, you start to value the piece that you lost, right? And for me, that's vision. You know, and I'll tell you the way that, and what I learned about myself is that I hope nobody has to go what I went through, but it took me to get to that point. Like, dude, you have to make a change in your life.
Yeah.
Because the way stress affects me is it makes me go blind.
Literally blind?
Yeah.
Like you can't see all of a sudden?
All of a sudden, my body says, you have way too much cortisol.
Holy fuck.
So
and you literally go blind.
No,
I would say there's nothing that would train you.
But you literally, you can't see.
No, dude, it dumps fluid behind my eyes and wrecks my eyesight and will permanently make me blind if I don't manage my stress.
But in that situation, you're visually, so it's not like you could, you're not speaking metaphorically. It's not like you could still drive a car or
I'm not,
or even continue walking. Like,
this is as real as it comes.
Is literal.
Yeah.
You're being 100% literal. So you're actually getting
literally blind.
So cortisol
is
actually being dumped into your physical eye sockets.
Yep.
And it impairs your vision. In that moment, it's temporary, but over time, it can make you go permanently blind.
If I don't manage it, it will dump fluid behind my eyes, and it will wreck my eyes.
Wow.
Yeah. So, listen, man, I'm only sharing this side of me because I think all of us, as humans, we experience stress. And the only thing that I've learned for me, right? And I keep saying for me because I found what brings me to my center. Down. What doesn't create the cortisol. We all have it, right? What works for me might not work for somebody else, but what might work for me might work for somebody else. So shit, why don't we talk about it, right? And for me, what has worked is finding the center, finding a piece of one, who you are as a person. You're good, bad, and you're different. Every day you wake up, just try to be good. Just try to create no harm, minimize.
So what was causing this level of stress? To begin with, and just to put this in context, is mental health is something that's super important to you and your band.
Important to me.
You guys are donating portion of your merch proceeds
to the Scars Foundation.
Correct.
Yep.
Which you guys can go to their website. The link is in my description. You can go to their website, check out their content, all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
10% is it? 10% of the proceeds or something like that?
We're taking a portion of those.
A portion of the proceeds?
Yeah.
Whatever. It's probably 10%. That's usually what it is. Or tax or something. But anyways, a portion of the proceeds, you guys. Yeah. So this is, I don't want people to think that this came out of left field, because we kind of we hung out for about, I don't know, a little over an hour before we actually started the podcast.
Yeah.
And we were already
we were
having
already
a pretty
deep.
Good podcast well before the podcast started.
It was like 5:15, 5:30.
And so I just realized for a second, we're into this, but other people are like, what the fuck did I just walk in on?
Yeah.
Okay, so now the
Love
reason
you,
I'm mentioning this, though, is because I think when a lot of us talk about mental health, especially within men, the first thing most people think now, and it's good that we've destigmatize this, is depression.
Gotten to this point.
Depression. But the bad part of that happening when we start talking about mental health is they go, oh, he's depressed. Well, not everyone suffers from depression, right?
No.
Because they're worried about mental health. There's also stress and anxiety. Those are two other things that will cripple a human being.
Anxiety is huge, and I've got experience with that. Well, I've got experience with a lot of it, like anxiety,
I love it, man.
depression.
Let it happen.
A lot of people don't even realize that.
Here, pull that even closer to you, dude.
A lot of people don't
you
even
can pull it down and pull it to you. Yeah, there you go.
A lot of people don't realize that, even growing up, it's I've been on that cusp. I'm wearing
What is so you're talking about an anxiety attack?
Anxiety attack, depression.
So what is an anxiety fit or attack, or what is feeling anxious? What does that feel like for you? Because I don't think a lot of people understand what it's like to have anxiety versus feel a little anxious. Like, ooh, I can't wait to get out of here at 4:00. That's not having anxiety.
No.
You're feeling anxious. That's totally different. Explain to people what it means to you.
Look, to me,
I'm not trying to expect you to explain for everyone who suffers from anxiety.
And I was just going to bring that up because
that's why I keep saying for you.
It's a very hard
same thing the way you were doing
thing to generalize. I mean, anxiety is, for me, I've had situations where I literally it's a strange wave of emotion that hit me because all this shit that I didn't do when I wanted to, and all of a sudden if I get up today, it's like I'm gonna fucking crack if I go to work today.
What do you mean by that?
This is why it's so
like,
difficult.
Take me through a day. So just take us through a day where, you're clearly having some version of, and I'm trying to broad stroke it so more people can relate, but I want you to be specific. I'm going to broad stroke my questions, and you're having some problem with anxiety. Take me through a day.
That's the last day.
You wake up, or at the beginning of it, whatever. You wake up before you even, you're awake, but you haven't even opened your eyes, regardless of whether an alarm's going off. That's what I mean by take me through. First thought that rolls for, because when I'm suffering from depression, like I have been for the last couple of weeks because of the shit that's been going on with my dad, I wake up and literally I'm like, fuck, I was hoping it was all a dream.
Mm-hmm. That's
the first thing that goes through my head is I'm like, fuck, I still have to deal with this. Like I suddenly realized, nope, I came back to this reality. The one I fell asleep to is the same one I woke up to. And this isn't a dream. This isn't a movie. This is my reality. and like fuck,
almost as if you don't have all the resources to
and that's
make
before
it, to make it go
open my
away.
fucking eyes. That's what I'm asking you to do right now. I'm gonna broad stroke that question, and I'm gonna keep doing it to try to keep you down a somewhat path, but I want you to try to be as specific as you can with
you
your
feeling
version.
okay with Sharon too.
I mean, it's hard to be specific because it's more of like a feeling for me.
Right. What is that feeling
And
like?
it's
Because I want to understand this too more. Because
I mean, so do I, and that's a thing.
I think a lot of people suffer from anxiety and don't
don't
realize
know-
they do.
yes,
No, they
That's what I'm getting at.
yes,
They
yes,
mistake it
yes.
as a potential heart blood pressure issue,
Or I'm stressed.
or I'm stressed.
which is the strange thing because all of those things can jump into it.
They can all put
Like my heart
Okay, so
races.
like I said,
I get shakes.
If you don't want to get too specific, don't. But try to
Well,
take us through a day of what it's like to suffer
It's-
with anxiety.
the thing is, it's so strange for me to do this, and I have to finish this thought because
I appreciate it. Let it happen.
all I can really
Let it
do is
happen.
put you through the physicalities of it. It's like
Okay.
it's almost like for me it's like
That's
a
what you mean
spiritual
by
it's
feeling?
a spirit yeah, it's a spiritual detriment. Like
Yeah.
it takes me to that area. It was like all these issues, whether it's my relationships aren't where they need to be, whether it's like family, friends, work, or whatever, whether there's something devastating that just happened or that I haven't like flushed out or haven't like dealt with yet. It could be everything, all that from like, let's use psychology for instance, all the shit that was kept in the fucking like the shadow ego, whatever you want to call
what
it.
I like to call the treasure chest of doom.
Right. For some reason
That's good.
Open that one up.
Yeah, for
Oh.
some reason that decided to show up today.
Yep. I decided to grab that key and tackle that one.
And all of a
Oops.
sudden,
It's like a loot drop in a video game. Oh, only Monopoly. Like you don't always want that chance card.
Correct.
yeah, I'll have
Oh,
shakes.
fuck.
I can't speak to anyone. It's
Yeah.
it's like
For
I don't
sure.
even know if I want to go back to my job tomorrow.
Yep.
Or if I'm just gonna be like sitting at that bridge. So it's almost like it's another. I mean, you can almost say like I don't want to
Sitting
speak
at
like
the
I said,
bridge as in like
as in whoop done.
suicide.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yep. And I've had
So
friends.
that sounds
and,
almost identical to depression.
well, see, and that's I was gonna bring this up
The couple-
because I
the
almost
only
want to
difference
believe
that I know.
The couple.
Okay, now that how you said this and how you explain this, the only thing I know about the differences is there are physiological things that you're doing in your life that can cause depression, and there's
Chemicals,
physically
you're
a lot physiological things you can do to fix depression. So it
Yes,
comes down to
yes.
diet, exercise. You can fix a depression by literally just jogging every day. And it
Exercise is huge.
starts a cycle where now you're a little
Yeah.
hungrier, so you start eating a little better naturally because
yes.
you feel better. You want to be
the
healthier.
chemicals. Yeah.
And it's
thing.
this and it's this cycle, right?
Right.
Anxiety, is that the same thing? Is it a physiological, or is it actually purely psychological or spiritual or emotional? Is it on the other side of the gate?
I almost want.
Because
want
the
people.
symptoms sound
yes.
identical.
This
is mind blowing.
I almost want
Because I'm
people
like,
to
fuck,
chime
I
in
think
because
I
here's
definitely have anxiety and depression.
yeah. I almost want people to chime in or anyone knowledgeable because I don't fucking know. I don't have enough knowledge to know what this is.
Interesting, bro. Because I know, one thing I've started to think about when it comes to depression is it's literally like you're injured. It's like blowing your knee out or breaking your arm,
Dude, it's
and then not putting it in a cast, and then walking around with a broken arm forever, and
thinking
people are
you're
going,
okay.
dude, I need you to fucking pick up those hay bales and move them over here. And you're like,
Good analogy.
and you're like,
Good
dude,
analogy.
I just can't lift shit today. My
Hey, man.
arm hurts. And they're like, I don't care.
I don't care. You don't look
Get
like
it
you're
done.
hurt.
bro.
Get it
right.
the fuck done.
The toughest.
Right.
You look. You're tough enough. Go fucking do your fucking
Yep.
job.
Or go to the doctor and get it fixed.
I
That's
think-
the other big one
that's
too.
the- that's
Go to the
fucking
doctor
worst.
and get it fixed.
I think here's the deal.
And it's like, well, I don't have
It's-
insurance, or they
it's-
don't cover that, or whatever,
let
or
it
you
keep-
don't
let
pay
it-
me enough.
Let it all keep piling, right?
Listen, man.
There it is.
it's the invisible disability that kills.
This is why everyone needs a mushroom dealer in their life, because when your health insurance doesn't cover this kind of
Jared.
therapy, You just holler at your boy, $100, get some good mushies, take a deep ride with God, and you come back. You're like, all right, I got to figure it out. I definitely know what to do now.
You got a whole new perspective on life after that, right?
For real, I'm all Dr. Feel Good.
It's like,
I'll fucking tell you how to fix it.
Everyone can feel your energy.
This is the plight of the actual poor people. Is we can't turn to modern medicine, or we're freaked out, right? Whether it's because of like chemicals or pills or what. Like for me, I literally have a pill phobia, so I can't even take Advil. There's something, I have to be in insane amounts of pain to even take a Tylenol. I have no problem with needles. I used to give plasma, right? Like if I'm in the surgery and they're like, okay, we're going to give you a syringe. Do you have any issues with needles? I'm like, nope, just don't let me look at it. Be smooth, be quick. Boom. I'm like, good. But dude, just taking a pill, it's almost like, do you guys believe in genetic memory?
I do. Yeah.
I don't know.
I almost believe in that kind of shit.
That is.
Because it's like I have a feeling somebody in my family a couple hundred years ago died from pills or berries or some shit, because there's something about swallowing extremely tiny items. I can't do it, dude.
Here's what I ask
pills,
people.
Vitamins was a big one. That's why I can't take vitamins too.
Well, I'll ask you this. Like you say you almost believe that cell memory or whatever. I forget the term.
Genetic
memory. Well, if
you don't know what I'm talking about, think like, what is instinct? How does a horse be born and be able to walk within a day and run within a week?
Why wouldn't you believe
Whereas
it?
I think
it's a better question. Yeah. Like, explain to me why wouldn't you would not believe that?
And where the theory came from, just in case anybody thinks I'm going off the deep end, to bring it back, is every single baby that's ever been tested, their fear receptors go off when they're shown a snake. No matter if they know what the hell it is. No matter what region of the world they're from. No matter the class, no matter the education, the race, the age, whether it's a fucking, like, as soon as they can identify things. So you have a kid, what is that, like, 12 weeks after they're born or something?
I don't know.
They can really see everything. I know it takes weeks before they can see beyond a few inches and shit, but you can show them a spider and only some kids' fear receptors go off. You can show kids a bear and only some kids fear. You see what I'm getting at?
Yes.
But any child in this study that they showed, it's a snake. So people, where they're going with it, where some people go with it, is like, oh, see, the Bible's real. See, because they're talking about the serpent. See, they're talking about the serpent. See, Adam and Eve, it's all real. It's all real.
Well,
here we are.
That's a conversation that's going to take 5 more hours. So I'm not going to go down that road.
But sometimes it's spiders, and then the crazy thing is when they do it with adults, and their fear receptors go off over a spider. They find out, and the person didn't actually know about this, but they'll do some research and find out, like, their great-great-grandfather, they'll find some fucking death certificate, died of being bitten by a black widow. And now that's in the genetic memory of that kid. Possibly. That's what they think. I'm not saying it's real. I don't know if I believe it, but it leans towards that. What I was bringing.
Are y'all following this?
I have a pill. So back to
are we giving you a good podcast?
Back to the thing is I have a pill phobia. Okay? I have a pill phobia. So for me, antidepressants are a no go. I ain't doing no fucking antidepressants.
You need
right.
A
some guys
option
do
then.
Microdosing of mushrooms and psilocybin and LSD, where they don't get high, they don't see shit move, but they do just a tiny amount for a few days, and then they stop for a couple days. That's a great way to do it. For me, it's a macro dose, so it's like once every 6 months to a year. I go visit God. I take 7 grams of mushrooms and don't answer the door when I'm banging on it and I'm saying I'm panicking because I've locked myself in the basement. Yeah, don't answer the door. I need to be down here. That's what I do, and that's once or twice a year. But I'm serious, like.
Well, I mean, yeah,
this is my only cure for this. This is the only thing that's ever worked for me. Therapy doesn't work. Friends, sympathy, it's mushies. I got to do my mushroom therapy.
Jeremy said it best. Definitely do all we can do to fight it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's
absolutely. We should read the whole thing. Usually we don't read this many comments up front. But no, it's fine because these are good comments and this is a great conversation.
That's
and
really good insight.
And these are also the thick boy nation level supporters. He said, Jeremy Blake says, I wouldn't say you can fix it with that. You can certainly give you the mushies.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He says, I wouldn't say you can fix it with that, but you can certainly give yourself a fighting chance to management. And those of us with depression should definitely do all we can do to fight it. And he's talking about, if I asked if there's any physiological things like with depression, right? So you can literally fix a depression and start getting out of it, like literally turn the cycle around with exercise, diet, things like that.
Yeah.
It gives you a fighting chance, right?
I think you can.
I'm curious if there's anything like that with anxiety, going back to my reference of,
for me,
mushy therapy.
For me,
therapy.
There's like, it's a very, if you believe in like, if you understand like chakras and everything, they're all fucking firing in me. Like,
do you guys like meditate and shit?
Oh,
yes,
dude, every day,
dude. I'm like, I'm always
now, I'm starting to remember our talk about Buddhism.
I'm always in a meditative state to the point where people actually
we talked about the samanas in Buddhism, because I studied that shit heavy in high school, dude. The other thing I think we also ended up talking about is the stoned ape theory.
Yep.
Then the idea that like Moses in the burning bush, like,
dude,
I think all of them were tripping balls.
I just think,
like, I really do, man. I think the Buddhists were all fucking on teas.
In a lot of people's perception.
I think Hinduism, I think a lot of those dudes were on fucking mushroom teas. I think the birth of Judaism, they were on some hallucinogenic teas. Because as soon as you take these hallucinogens, you immediately go into... Yeah.
He was referencing to diet and exercise.
Yeah, you can manage those things and start turning, and that's what I was saying. You can start turning the wheel back to your favor and start managing those things and getting in front of them.
I think,
but it is like an injury.
I think the same method should be taken. That whenever, like what Jeremy's saying and what you're saying about like the exercise and diet and all that, I believe that taking that methodology towards dealing with anxiety is going to help it.
So let me ask you this. Things cause you to feel depressed, right? So like a breakup, losing your job, maybe you see what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And several of those things can convince somebody that they're permanently in a place of depression, right? They had a bad childhood, bad shit just keeps happening, right? So I suffer from depression. Regardless of that perception, it's still, I'm explaining it like an injury, and something happens to make you feel that way. Is that also true with anxiety? Is it a source of trauma?
Sure.
Is it because something traumatic happened?
Dude, it's all a source of trauma.
You know what? Yeah, I think so.
Or is it more like being bipolar, where it's literally a chemical misfire in your brain? But you see what I'm saying? Because those people are born with that shit.
That's for the doctors to figure out.
But can't those
things be joined up? That's what I want to know.
Up?
Just generally, I'm broad brush here. I'm not asking you guys to be fucking doctors right now.
Right. But I'm just curious.
I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Can't those two aspects be joined? Like you say, well, this trauma, you brought up trauma, then you brought up the chemical imbalance,
right?
Well, can't those things be intertwined? Because if you experience drama as a child, doesn't your chemical mental imbalance change?
100%. Yep.
Okay, so they might as well be intertwined and
they are
be connected.
The same thing. However,
so how does a perfectly healthy adult? Because I got buddies like this. Perfectly healthy adult.
I would question what your definition of perfect is.
So they're quote unquote fine towards the normal societal exceptions.
Okay,
right? So
human beings are exquisite actors, but we'll go ahead.
But honestly, and even knowing this, person, everything is fine. Like the life is good, the money's good, the house is good. He's happy for